Hello there. Welcome to episode number 66 of Inside the Vault, a Carolina Panthers podcast. I am your host, Ryan Smith, and with me on this 12:30 p.m. edition on draft day is Desmond Johnson, host of the Bleav in Panthers podcast, and you know him obviously here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Desmond, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, man. How's everybody doing? Just looking forward to getting this draft started finally.
You're not wrong. I figured I'd give everyone my quick 1.0 for the Panthers, and my only one that I do. I'm not a big mock draft guy, but I figured, since pretty much a lot of the other Panther guys are doing it, I might as well do one too. We're here live about 6 hours before the draft, 7 hours, something like that, depending on what time zone you're in. So let's go and get right to it, Desmond, and then we'll talk about some of the guys that are bigger names like Shore Sanders, some of the quarterbacks and other guys that might land here tonight and hear their name called. So for the Carolina Panthers, pick number 8 in the NFL draft, I have got the Panthers not trading back. I do think it'll be very close, and I think it still could happen, but in my mock, I do not have them trading back. I think Jalen Walker ultimately will be gone before pick number 8. Which means I have the Panthers selecting Mason Graham from Michigan at number 8 overall. I think he will be there, and I think he is going to fall. I think he's going to drop. I think the short arms are a concern for a lot of teams. I think Dan Morgan, if you look at, and I have to credit, you know him well, Panthers analyst on Twitter, Edward Salmingo, I have to credit him for this. Milton Williams, we tried to get him, and then we pivoted to not Travell Wharton, but Turk Wharton from the Chiefs. Pretty much almost the same measurables as Mason Graham has as far as the shorter arms and 32-inch arms, guy who can disrupt the interior. And that would almost make the Panthers interior a strength if we add Mason Graham next to Derek Brown. And then you look at Wharton and Bobby Brown, both of those guys are uncertain after 2026, whereas Derek Brown is not. So you would give Mason Graham and Brown have foundational pieces on this defensive line for years to come.
I mean, if Mason Graham falls to 8, then yeah, absolutely. Dan Morgan should sprint to the podium to draft him. I like the idea of having Graham and Brown in the middle. I know a lot of folks want offense at 8. This just isn't the draft for it to me. Like to go for like a Tet McMillan or somebody like that at number 8 just seems like a reach to me when he's probably going to still be there at 18. I do hope somebody comes along. What I'm hoping is that Ashton Jeanty starts to fall, because if he starts to fall, then some teams may want to hop up to get him as opposed to a quarterback. There's a lot of running back needy teams, Denver, Dallas, that are picking behind us. So I'm hoping that someone will come along, sees Jeanty fall past the Raiders at 6 and decide, hey, we want Jeanty. They try to come up to 8 to get him, and then allows us to move back. Say it's Dallas. Dallas is picking 12. So in that scenario, Dallas would move up 4 spots to 8, get their running back. We would move down to 12. Some of the guys we want would still be there. Actually, we'd probably pick up a second round pick because of it, because we do have a second, but it's in the bottom of the second round from the Rams from last year. So we have it's like pick number 57. So after this 8th pick, we don't pick again until pick 57, and it's like I don't think that that's going to be the thinking for Dan Morgan in terms of waiting that long. So I do like the idea of Mason Graham coming over, but I'm not really sure if he's going to be there by the time we get to pick 8. I can easily see New England or somebody else grabbing him. I think we lost Ryan here. Let's see if we can get him back.
There we go. Sorry, my phone. I know this might have happened in my car, so I realized that was probably the poorest timing ever. But can you still hear me? I apologize. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was bound to happen with my Wi-Fi. So that might happen.
No, I was just saying that if Mason Graham is still there at 8, then yeah, absolutely the Panthers should go after him. But I'm thinking he's going to be gone by then. I'm thinking actually the Patriots may be the ones that grab him. With Mike Vrabel being the new head coach, he's probably going to look for some defense. I actually at 8, I've kind of come along. We did a top 10 mock on Bleav in Panthers earlier this week, and everybody can go check that out on the Bleav podcast network after you're done watching this. myself, Skylar Callahan from Sports Illustrated, and Jonathan Stewart from the Carolina Panthers, we landed on Will Johnson, actually, the cornerback from Michigan at pick 8. If we have to pick at 8, the idea of pairing him long term with J.C. Horn makes us feel pretty good about that selection. It seems like he's kind of dropping a little bit due to some concerns about his knee, but they kind of talked me into it, so I'm thinking that might be the way we go. If he's still sitting there, but I think the preference was to trade the pick. And that seems to be the overall consensus for the Panthers, is that they're aggressively trying to trade out of this pick, which tells me they think, and a lot of other teams think, that this isn't a very strong draft. I think we lost Ryan again. Everybody just stand by. While we're waiting for Ryan to come back, you can actually ask us questions live while we're on here on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network. It's a Carolina Panthers-centric podcast network, multiple shows live inside the vaults, one of many shows that are on here, Winning the Division with Ryan and Ben Troop, former NFL tight end. They go around the NFL every week. Embrace Debate with myself, Cody Lashley from the C3 podcast. We'll be back actually with new episodes here very, very soon. If you're a Panther content creator and you're interested in being on Embrace Debate in the future, where you basically face off against another Panther content creator, debate style, kind of like First Take, just hit us up and let me know, and we'll get you situated and get you on there. CJA says, if Mason Graham is there at 8, what is the minimum trade return you'd take to move off the pick? Depends on who it is. Depends on who it is coming up to do it. If it's someone like well, it depends. It depends on who our second choice is, because I think Mason Graham would probably be really high on the Panther board. If in fact he's still sitting there at 8, they probably wouldn't trade out of it. I think they would just walk up there and take Mason Graham. But if someone else comes along, say Mason Graham's on the board and Ashton Genty's on the board, and you got Dallas calling wanting to trade up to get Genty, I think they would trade with that, move down to 12, get an extra second probably. An early second would probably be enough for them to move 4 or 5 spots either way. Anything more than that, if they're moving more than 4 or 5 spots, say they're moving like 8, 9 spots down, like into the 20s of the first round, then yeah, you're probably gonna need to throw in an extra like 3rd or 4th round pick or something for them to do that. Still waiting on Ryan. He was having some Wi-Fi difficulty. We'll see if he can get back in here. If you have questions like CJ there or Dwayne commenting from Facebook, you can talk to us live while we're on the air. Again, this isn't my show. This is Inside the Vault. It's part of the Keep Pounding Podcast Network, powered by the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow the Keep Pounding Podcast Network over there. It's also powered by Tobacco Road Sports Radio, so you can actually see Inside the Vault and all these other shows that are Carolina Panthers centric throughout the season. Looks like Ryan's coming back in now, so let's see if he got to a better
this
location.
Might be somebody telling me something that maybe I shouldn't be doing mock drafts.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's not do a mock then. Let's just talk about. Let's not do a full blown mock draft, because we're running a little bit low on time. Let's just kind of talk more about what the Panthers should be doing.
Yeah, I want to travel onto the defensive side of the football. Obviously, if we got Mason Graham, that would be a good start. Someone like a Braden Swinson from LSU plays edge rusher. He's available in the 2nd, 3rd round. Princely from Ole Miss. I can't remember the guy's last name at this moment. Played at Florida first, then at Ole Miss. 2 edge rushers that I would like. Safety is another position I think we should go after. I think maybe twice in this draft. Someone like a Billy Bowman from Oklahoma, Jonas Sanker from Virginia, 2 names that I like that would be available in the 4th, 5th round, somewhere in that range. Offensive tackle is another one on the offensive side. I could see them going around 3rd, 4th round. I don't have a name for you there, but I do see Taylor Moton's successor maybe being drafted in this draft after he turns 31, I believe, in August, if I'm not mistaken. And then the other 2 positions that I would be targeting myself is another running back in the case of Jonathan Brooks' long-term health. Ollie Gordon, the second, who ironically went to Oklahoma State, just like Chuba Hubbard, is an option. Someone like name was off the top of my head a second ago. oh gosh, Cam Scatterbo from Arizona State. I don't
I like
think
him.
I like him too, but I don't know if he fits us long term. His running style compared to what we already have with Rico and Chuba. But I do like Ollie Gordon II, who we brought in for a visit, and the guy from UCF whose name is escaping me right now, whose last name I Bleav is Harvey. We brought him in also from UCF Central Florida. And then finally, tight end is a name that I want to. A lot of names out there for tight end. Harold Fanning Jr. from Bowling Green, Mason Taylor, son of Jason Taylor from the Dolphins, and Zach Thomas's nephew, could be available in the third or fourth round as well at tight end. And then this might be an unpopular opinion, Desmond, but with the 7th round pick, our very last pick, I want to draft Andre Borregales, the kicker from Miami University, to be our long-term kicker here in Carolina.
I don't mind the kicker pick at 7. A lot of times that's where you'll find like kickers and punters and stuff like that. If they're not signed as undrafted free agents. I do like the idea of picking up another running back, because what we found out last year is that you can't have too many running backs. And, we started running out of running backs at the end of the year, matter of fact. So while there were those who were pushing against the idea of if Ashton Jeanty is at 8, like if he falls and we're sitting at 8, what do the Panthers do? Do they go trade? Do they go pick him or whatever? And I've been on the side of, I'm not necessarily a fan of the pick, but I wouldn't be like mad at it either. Like some people would be, like if they did that, because they're looking at like Chuba Hubbard's like the next Walter Payton or something. I'm like, no, he's a very serviceable back, but he's not Ashton Jeanty. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a difference. So it's like, if they have an opportunity to add that, that's a weapon for Bryce. And that's what people have been asking for, right? Like they want a weapon for Bryce Young. So whether it's Ashton Jeanty, whether it's Ted McMillan, whether it's Tyler Warren, the tight end, who, if he falls, that's an interesting proposition there at 8-2 for Carolina. Do you go get Bryce Young a tight end? It's kind of similar to last year where they needed defense too, but they went offense in the first round, actually traded up into the bottom of the first round to get Xavier Legette. I'm just reluctant to draft a wide receiver in this draft at 8. Like it just doesn't seem like there's a wide receiver in this draft that makes sense to go in the top 10. I see a lot of folks trying to shoehorn certain wide receivers into it. It seems like a lot of the value is on day 2, rounds 2 and 3. Seems like that's where all the meat of this draft is. It seems like it's more of a depth draft as opposed to a superstar draft. So I could see Dan Morgan doing some maneuvering with this pick tonight, where don't be surprised if they don't pick at 8, and don't be surprised if whatever package Dan Morgan gets for trading down does not include a first round pick in it. Like I could see them deciding to make some moves and pick up multiple 2s or something to that effect, as opposed to just using this pick with the first round selection. And we lost Ryan again. I think he's sitting in a parking lot or something. I think he said he was on his lunch break. So we'll see if we can get him back on again. If you have questions about the draft, which is going to happen in a couple of hours, Carolina picking number 8 overall. You're listening and watching Inside the Vault here on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network and TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com. You are normally hosted by Ryan Smith. I'm actually his guest today, but he's having some Wi-Fi difficulties, so he'll be back on here in just a bit. If you have a question, let me know about that. Like, what if you saw who's the surprise guy if he was at 8 that you would have the Panthers run to the podium to go grab? Let us know in the comment section here, whether you're watching it on Facebook or whether you're watching it on X or the Tobacco Road Sports Radio YouTube channel. Daniel Martin here says, if Graham falls to 8, don't trade back, please. Seems like Graham is the one, if he falls, that's the one where everybody consensus is kind of like, yeah, go ahead and get him. I just don't think he's going to fall. Like, I don't know if he's going to get past the Patriots at 4, to be honest. And then you've got the situation with these quarterbacks as well, as we bring Ryan back in. What's going on, buddy? Like, you got all kinds of situations going on over there.
Yeah, seriously. My phone is giving me so much trouble. I'm sorry to the listeners, to Desmond. Sorry. This has been not my forte today from my phone perspective. And that's just, sometimes technology, gets the best of us. So that's what's currently happening.
We'll motor through it. Again, like I was saying before, if anybody has any questions or something they want us to talk about on here while we're on, we'll be on until 1 o'clock. Just hit us up here. Ron, what are your thoughts on the talk with Shedeur Sanders and where he might land? Because it seems like he's falling, or certain teams might get him. Like, I can't get a beat on where he might be, and it seems like he's the key to this draft almost, in terms of if somebody comes up to get him, or if he just falls to somebody that didn't have to go up at all.
I think it's pretty cut and dry for me. I think Mike Tomlin likes him a lot, and I think he's going to go to Pittsburgh at 21. I think I think that's going to happen, and I think it has a really good chance of happening.
Do you think it's going to be? Do you think he's going to go to Pittsburgh at 21, or do you think Pittsburgh is going to have to move up to go get him?
I think he's going to fall to 21. I really do. I don't have that sourced or anything. It's just a thought, but just based on how things are going right now, I just can't see it. He is such a polarizing prospect, obviously, as people say, but I just can't see it. I mean,
what is it that you think makes him polarizing? Because this is what I can't figure out. Other than him being Deion Sanders' son, he's with that Sanders swagger, but you kind of want that at quarterback, right? So it's like, what?
Yeah,
I don't understand. What is it that's making people push away from Shedeur? Because he was a top 3 quarterback in the country last year, but it feels like everyone's pointing their finger at him. Like, no, you don't want him. He's a bad person in the locker room. He's this, he's that, he's blah, blah, blah. But it's all in the window. So it's like, I don't understand the drop.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a draft expert by any means. I'm not a scout, so this is hard for me to obviously quantify. But I would say just, having. I mean, I think he's tough. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think people don't question his toughness, the fact that he grew up around being the son of Deion Sanders. I don't think people are questioning that. I think it's the, how is he going to respond in the NFL when things just don't go his way because he hasn't played under his dad before, without his dad before, and his offensive line that he goes to may not be very good like it was at Colorado. He's going to get beat up a lot. Can he respond to that adversity? Can he lead a group of men ultimately in the locker room? How is he going to be respected by those, veterans they have families, they have people that they depend on, and he's going to be that young rookie quarterback coming in and just being a leader of men. So that's just me guessing. And again, that's not necessarily my personal opinion. I'm just guessing on that may be why he's falling. I've heard people say if they had to rate him from last year's prospects, it would be around between Bo Nix and Michael Penix, which was, I believe, the 6th quarterback rated last year.
Yeah. I mean, they're both starters in the NFL, though. So, I mean,
yeah.
And those were kind of surprises, too, last year. Because, I mean, I remember us clowning Atlanta for drafting Michael Penix Jr. when they just gave, Kirk Cousins $100 million like a couple of months prior. And then Bo Nix, that was more of a conviction pick by Sean Payton in Denver. They just liked it. They just fell in love with him and got him in the late 1st round, and it worked out for them. But they had pieces. They had a defense. They had a run game. They had a decent offensive line. So he kind of walked into a situation where Russell Wilson had just vacated pretty much, or Sean Payton kind of pushed him out. But they had a bit of a team there. They had a bit of a playoff team there already that Bo Nix stepped into. You're right with Shedeur, wherever he goes, whether it's Cleveland or the Giants or the Saints or anyone picking in that top 10, he's going to a situation where they're not going to have an O-line. They're not probably going to have a lot of stuff on the side. So, it's a situation where he might be better off going to Pittsburgh at 21, because then you're going to a place that's going to have a good O-line. They're going to have a good defense. They always do. They just traded for DK Metcalf. You've got Pickens there already. So you've got weapons already. He can step in day one, Ben Roethlisberger style, hand the ball off pretty much, direct traffic, move the chains, and Pittsburgh can win 12 games. Like, literally, so they did last year with
my only question is whether Pickens will be there. His name is come up in a lot of trade talk. We'll see if they ship him out, and Metcalf is the leading guy. Real quick, because I got cut off earlier. Jalen Noel is another guy at receiver that I really like for the Panthers at 57 if he's there. Jack Besh from TCU is another one. Kyle Williams from Washington State. Those are 2 of the guys that I like for the Panthers in receiver, which I think they are going to draft at least one. If I had, I'm not going to do my 7 mock draft at this point, but I will say the positions I would target is D-line, wide receiver, running back, edge, tight end, and offensive line. Those are my main positions.
They're pretty much the team.
Exactly.
Much every position on the squad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they have needs everywhere, and I think Dan Morgan is going to fill those needs where he sees fit. I'll real quickly give you my predictions for every quarterback that is notable one, because since you started with Sanders, we know where Ward's going, obviously. Tennessee, number 1 overall. That's not a hot take. I think Jackson Dart is going to go to the New York Giants. The Giants are going to trade back into the 1st round and draft Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. That's my guess there.
I saw, actually, before we go further, I think I saw this morning when I woke up something about the GM of the Giants, his son accidentally leaked out that they were going to draft Jackson Dart or something,
and that's why I'm saying
he
that.
got
I saw the
grounded.
same
Yeah.
thing. I saw the same thing. So I think that's what's going to happen with him.
Okay.
Yeah, Jalen Milroe, sorry, from Alabama is going to join Travis Hunter in Cleveland. I think they're going to give him Jerome is going to Cleveland. Here's a way off base one, but I'll give it to you. Tyler Shuck from Louisville that everyone's been talking about, who's been in college forever. Justin Herbert's backup at one point. He's going to go to the Los Angeles Rams, back up Matthew Stafford, and maybe, just maybe, be the heir apparent there to Stafford in Los Angeles down the road. And then Kyle McCord is the other one that I was thinking of, and he's gonna go to probably the Raiders a little bit later on. Give Geno Smith's long-term answer there in Las Vegas after a few years with Geno Smith. Now, you realize, Desmond, I did not say the New Orleans Saints, which means that they're probably still going to get a quarterback, and it might be one of these guys that I named, and I'll be dead wrong, and that's fine. But a guy that no one's talking about in New Orleans, we keep going over Spencer Rattler. He was just there as a rookie last year, and I realized he was a third-round pick. Second round pick, third round pick, one of those two. He wasn't a first round pick, so I get it. So and he might not have had a chance to earn the job, in my opinion, and so I think they're going to give him a long look, especially if they don't draft somebody high. So that's my thinking there on the New Orleans Saints. But if I had to peg someone to go to New Orleans based on the guys that I just named, it would probably be Jackson Dart, but I don't think he's going to end up.
Yeah, I've seen some smoke with Dart maybe going to New Orleans. I think Shador would maybe be best suited in New Orleans if he has to go in the top 10. But again, I think for Shador, the best place to go would be Pittsburgh in the 20s, because now you're going to a place kind of like Aaron Rodgers' situation when he fell and ended up going to Green Bay, where it ended up working out for him. You didn't go to a team that was 2-something the year before. You're going to a team that won double-digit games and has a coach that's never been below 500. Like, you're going to be right. You're going to be okay and taken care of. And I think Shador needs a Mike Tomlin type. Like, when he first comes into the league, he needs someone that's a disciplinarian. Because again, he's only played for Dion, high school and college. So he's only played for his dad. He's only played for a disciplinarian. Like, he's going to listen to his dad. I think he would listen to Mike Tomlin and have the same respect for Mike Tomlin more so than he would, say, a Brian Dable or
Good point.
Kellen Moore in New Orleans, that kind of thing. Like, who are you to tell me my dad's the greatest cornerback of all time? That kind of thing. But
exactly.
Mike Tomlin would be like, well, I've got 2 rings to say that I'm pretty good too. Like, that kind of thing. So I think that's might be the thing there. Who do you think might be the surprise before we get out of here? There's usually somebody that falls every year, and it sounds like it might be Shador, but it wouldn't be much of a surprise. Who else would be a surprise if they fell? And there's usually somebody that gets picked way higher than people expect them to. Last year was Michael Penix Jr. Is there anybody that you're looking at that might get picked way higher than people are expecting, and anyone you think might drop that they're not expecting?
So this offensive line, there's been a lot of names out there that this offensive line is not that big of a not that surprising of a draft, strong of a draft rather. Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas. It's a guy that you saw Jalen Walker, Mikael Williams dominate when they played Georgia. And so he got dominated, I should say. But he's I think some people have him going in like the second round. Some people have him going late first. Some people now it sounds like he might be going top 10 to maybe the Raiders or the Jets, along with the kid from Missouri, Abam Mimbu, as the other offensive lineman to be drafted there in the top 10. And then I'm going to stick with Mason Graham. I think he's going to fall a little bit. I think the short arms are a concern for people. He has that wrestling background, but the short arms are a concern for some teams, especially in the depending on what kind of defense you run. So I think some teams aren't high on Mason Graham because of the shorter arms. Desmond, I'm not comparing him to this player. I am not. Please do not, anybody in the comments, do not take what I'm about to say and run with this. Aaron Donald has short arms coming out of Pittsburgh. He fell to 13th overall. Is Mason Graham going to be Aaron Donald? No, he will not. But I think he will be a very good defensive tackle in the NFL. Probably multiple-time Pro Bowler. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Relax. I'm not saying he's going to be an All-Pro. I'm not saying that. I think he's just going to be a very solid, dependable, multi-Pro Bowl defensive tackle. And if the Panthers draft him, let's remember, Derek Brown is a top 5 defensive tackle in the league now, I think. And so playing next to Derek Brown would be very good for Mason Graham as well. Real quick before we get out of here, if they do trade back for whatever reason, Graham, Jalen Walker off the board, or they pass on him, guys that I like in a trade back would be Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, Donovan Ezaraku from Boston College, defense edge rusher, or one of those receivers, Matthew Golden from Texas, Ted McMillan from Arizona. Those are the guys I'm looking at if we trade back and we ultimately did pass on a Jalen Walker or a Mason Graham at 8.
I'm totally fine. As much as I've talked about Ted McMillan and not wanting him at 8, it's not because I don't like him as a player. I just don't want him at 8. Like if we can get him at 18 or 20, that's totally fine. Matter of fact, I'd rather get Ted and an extra pick as opposed to Ted at 8. Like that's my only thing with Ted McMillan. Like, and I get it that people want to get some help for Bryce, but we can't. People are forgetting the end of last year. Like the last 6 or 7 games that we played, teams are running for 200 yards on us, like up our back, like every week. Like we were in shootouts and Bryce was playing great, but I don't want to be in 38, 35 games, like every week where our defense just can't stop anybody. Like we've got to fix the defense, and I think the coaches and Dan Morgan understand that.
If I had to guess, and they did trade back, I think Miami Dolphins at 13 would be the sweet spot. I'd see us no lower than 13 for Miami, but Chicago at 10 would be probably the soonest of a trade back. I think that would be the first team, and then Miami would probably be the max amount they trade back, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I could see. Watch out tonight for the Saints and the Cowboys. The Saints, I think at 9, I think is the team everyone's trying to leapfrog over, which puts us into play at 8. So if you start seeing somebody start to fall, that the Saints might want, and like a quarterback or something like that, that might be when Carolina gets some calls tonight, because I don't expect anything to start popping off till the draft really starts to happen. But I'm hearing Chicago wants to move up for Genty. I'm hearing Denver wants to move up for Genty. That might be a situation where they come up to us as well and try to move. And Chicago's picking at 10. So it wouldn't take much for them to move from 8 to 10, give us back one of those seconds maybe that we gave them. I think they have it in this draft, if I'm not mistaken. They could trade that second right back to us. And then, they do, matter of fact. Yeah, they've got our second from the Bryce Young deal in this draft. It's higher up in the draft. I would take a second and maybe like a 4th to move down, 2 spots to 10 and let Chicago get up and go get their running back. And we at 10, you can still get Will Johnson. You can still get I'm fine at Ted McMillan at 10. Like all that's fine. I'm just not fine with him at 8. So we're here running up against it. If you missed all of this or you missed parts of it, the audio will be up on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network's platform. All major podcast platforms. You can catch the audio there. The video is already at Tobacco Road's YouTube channel from us doing this live. And I was going to say, Ryan, you should talk to Ben. We should probably figure out doing Winning the Division live, because it feels like you're getting more live viewers right now across multiple channels than when we put them out pre-tape. So maybe we need to figure out a night where you guys start doing Winning the Division. I'd produce it for you or something live across our social media outlets to build your audience that way.
Absolutely. That we can definitely do that. Thanks everyone. Inside the Vault, episode 66 here live with Desmond Johnson. Enjoy the draft tonight. I'm going to go live either right after the first round or late or early tomorrow and just discuss first round thoughts from the Panthers.
All right, everybody, enjoy the draft. I think this was the last draft interview I have, so I'm pretty good with ending it there. I will say, Albert R says, do you think the Panthers get Matthew Golden? We need speed. I think everything's in play, brother, right now.
Everything's in play.
Yeah, everything's in play. So hold on to your hats. I would probably start watching the draft from the beginning, because there's no telling what's going to happen in the top 10, especially with the Panthers in this pick. I think they're going to trade it. So we'll see what it is, but we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow the Keep Pounding Podcast Network on the Fans First Sports Network. Follow our stuff there. Embrace Debate. We'll be back with new episodes here soon. Inside the Vault and Winning the Division are on every week. The Cat Cave will be back here shortly as well. So a lot of good Carolina Panther content coming out of there. And if you're interested in starting a show there, hit us up at tobacco-road-sports-radio@gmail.com and we can talk. But I think that's it. So we'll get out of here. I think Ryan's got to get back to work. So Wood right there. That's Inside the Vault.